Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council meeting. I will call this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Today's date is Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Baraboo,
Present.
Friedlieb, Paulson,
Here.
Beyondich, Johnson,
Here.
Aaron-Sally,
Here.
Cuffey.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and thank you, everybody, for who's listening at home on this full agenda we have this evening. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is a public forum. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak before the council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and corrections of the minutes of the regular meeting that was held May 28th, 2019. Item 5.2, the adoption of Finance Resolution number 19-011 of the Schedule of Bills. Item 5.3, approve the transient merchant license for Dean Davich, doing business as Happy Dean's Eats. 5.4, approve the following Police Department events. Item 5.4A, the annual DARE Golf Tournament to be held Friday, July 26, 2019 at the Virginia Golf Course. And item 5.4B, National Night Out to be held Tuesday, August 6, 2019 at the Alcott Park from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Item 5.5, approve the training request for Sue Lean, the administrative assistant for the police department, to attend the law enforcement data practices in Duluth on June 26, 2019 at a cost of $296.92. And finally, item 5.6, approve a 3.2% on sale and wine license for the 218 LLC at 101 3rd Avenue North, Virginia, Minnesota, contingent upon submitting all the required items. These are the consent agenda scheduled for this evening, and I would move for a councilor for approval for the consent agenda.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Consent agenda is moved for approval by Councilor Johnson.
I'll support.
And supported by Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, on item 5.3, the transient merchant license, as we go forward in approving some of these street vendors, would it be possible to maybe get some of their information in our packet so that we can let people know what they are and what to look for? Just since we approved the street tacos, I've been having fun finding the truck over the last couple weeks. So I'd love to be able to give the public some information on what's coming to town.
Yeah, we should find out the menu he has or that the company has that's available. And I know the transient means they're all over the place. And I did catch the taco truck one day, and I was fortunate to have some sustenance there. Okay, thank you. It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda with the information requested by Councilor Paulson to be provided at a later date. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. We'll move to item 6, which is our appearances. There is no one scheduled to appear before the council this evening. Item 7 is unfinished business. Item 7.1 is adopt a resolution for the land exchange between the City of Virginia and Independent School District number 706 for property adjacent to the Parkview School. This is the second reading of this resolution. And do I have a motion?
Also move the second reading of the land exchange.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Baraboo. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, discussion items. First, item 8.1 is to set the council July meeting date and time. Traditionally, we've only had one council meeting and one committee meeting in the month of July. And so we're looking to see what the councilor schedules are, to see if we can accommodate a committee of the whole meeting and one council meeting in the month of July. I would like just to let you know that on July the 16th, I'll be heading to the cities, taking a group of kids to the Minnesota Twins game. So if you set it for the 16th, that's fine, but I won't be available. So if we could find some other way so we could all be present, that's fine, but I would like to accommodate everybody else's schedule. So does anyone have a preference on what we can do? Pam has some suggestions. We could do a committee meeting on July the 2nd, and then have the council meeting on July 9th. That way the rest of the month is available. But if we feel that's too close to the 4th of July celebration, we can make an adjustment. So that's simply a suggestion.
That works for me, Mayor.
Does that work for everyone? July 2nd for the committee of the whole? And July 9th for the council meeting?
Yes.
Sherry?
Comment, Mayor. I believe Pam Whitmore from the League is going to be doing the open meeting law training on July 16th at 9 o'clock.
Right. 9 in the morning. Well, did you want to move your committee of the whole meeting to that day? I'm not going to be here, so. So July 2nd and July 9th is fine? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move July 2nd as committee of the whole meeting and July 9th as the regular council meeting for July.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Moved by Councilor Johnson to hold the committee of the whole meeting on July 2nd, the council meeting on July 9th. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.2, allow Virginia Dare to utilize city-owned land located on the 6th and 700 blocks of 4th Street North for the public parking during the Land of the Loon Festival on June 15th through 16th, 2019. This money, of course, is utilized to help fund the DARE program throughout the Independent School District number 706. Councilor Bonzelli makes a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve
Thank you. Is there support?
end of the loan.
Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.3, adopt a resolution accepting the donation to the Virginia Ambulance Department. And so could you, somebody, please, for the public's edification and education, what this donation is who it's from or organization, or if it's a private citizen, and the amount?
From Lyle Conaway and Angeline Grant for $100.
Thank you. By Silver Star recipient Lyle Conaway, lives in Ridgewood, and his partner. Thank you for $100. Thank you. There's a motion on, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to.
Motion by Councilor Freely. Is there support? Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, consider the following variances from the Planning and Zoning Commission, the meeting that was held on June 3rd, 2019. Item 8.4A, the variance request from Jason Metza, 810 5th Street South, Virginia, for a 8.4A1, a 3-foot variance from the required 8-foot side yard setback in order to construct a new garage 5 feet from the west property line. Do I have a motion?
I will move the acceptance of the recommendation of the zoning committee.
Moved by Councilor Johnson for approval. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4B, a variance request from Michael Jew at 1803 Wolf Road. Item 8.4B1, a continuation, this is a continuation for the request of a 20-foot variance from the required 20-foot setback in order to construct a new attached garage 0 feet from the front yard of Wolf Road property line.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Counselor Paulson to approve. Is there support? Support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson?
We're approving the continuation
Correct.
of the variant? Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4C, a variance request from Bernice Sabetti at 1402 10th Street South. 8.4C1A, 3-foot variance to the maximum fence height of 3 feet in the front yard in order to construct a new fence 6 feet high on the west property line. And then, in the same request of variance 8.4C2, a variance requested was denied for the 2-foot variance to the 5-foot alley setback requirement in order to construct a new fence 3 feet from the rear alley property line. So one variance was approved, that's item 8.4C1. So let's take action on that one. It was a recommendation to approve for item 8.4C1, a 3-foot variance to the maximum fence height of 3 feet in the front yard in order to construct a new fence 6 feet high on the west property line.
I will move the recommendation from the committee to approve the variance.
Thank you. A move by Councilor Johnson to approve. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bearable?
Yeah, I notice in the request that this fence stays with the owner, and if it, once it's sold, it no longer exists. Is that the way I'm reading that? Is that correct? It says in here it is non-transferable to a future owner if the fence is not built before moving. Never mind, I read it wrong.
Thank you, Councilor Bearable. Okay, is there any further discussion on this one? Councilor Barnzelli? It's a recommendation for approval by planning and zoning, yes. Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now 8.4C2, which is a variance request by Bernice Sabetti at the same address, 1402 10th Street South. This variance request was denied by the planning and zoning for a 2-foot variance to the 5-foot alley setback requirement in order to construct a new fence 3 feet from the rear alley property line. So apparently went on and took a look at it and thought that it was too close to the roadway and thought that might be an impediment. So do I have a motion to approve the planning and zoning's denial of this variance? Motion by Councilor Freely to approve the denial of the variance. Is there support? Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 8.4D, variance request from Mary Sue and Douglas Mertens at 707 6th Avenue South. D1, a 3-foot variance to the maximum height of 3 feet in order to construct a new 6-foot high fence on the south 7th Street side property line. We can take all these at once, can we not? And then item D2, also a 4-foot variance to the maximum 2-foot in height requirement on the corner lot in order to construct a new 6-foot fence on the east 6th Avenue property line. Item D3, a 20-foot variance to the required 20-foot setback on a corner lot in order to construct a new 6-foot fence on the east 6th Avenue property line. D1, 2, and 3 are all for the same residents and all recommended for approval by planning and zoning. Do I have a motion for D1, 2, and 3 at the request of Mary Sue and Douglas Mertens for this variance?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Councilor Paulson to approve. Is there support? Support by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.5, accept the resignation from Jenny Smith from the Virginia Economic Development Authority, VEDA. Do I have a motion to accept her letter of resignation?
I'll move to accept the letter of resignation as she has moved out of town, I believe is what the letter said.
Thank you. Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Okay, supported by Counselor Barnzelli to accept the resignation by Jenny Smith from VEDA. She has moved out of the city. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.6, adopt a resolution approving Minnesota Laws 2019 Special Session, Chapter 6, Article 6, Section 30, to allow for a 1% sales tax in the city of Virginia, which will schedule to take effect in January of 2020. And in order to get that approved and moving forward, we have to have a resolution approving it.
Also move the resolution for the 1% sales tax.
Moved by Councilor Baraboo. Is there support? Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
I just have a question on that. How does that affect, or if people are buying online, does that money actually come to Virginia, or does it stay where they're ordering from?
Under the
Because
sale,
there's-
that's a very good question. And under the sales tax laws, whatever the Minnesota sales tax authorizes to be taxed for goods and services purchased within the city of limits of Virginia is considered a sales tax. If it's purchased outside the city of Virginia and delivered into the city of Virginia, the sales tax applies. If the items are purchased in the city of Virginia and delivered outside the city limits of Virginia, there's exceptions to the sales tax law that doesn't require that to be sales tax. An example would be if there's a large purchase from a lumber yard for $50,000 for a new housing cost. You know, if they're buying it, 1% sales tax on $50,000 a lot, that's an exception in the sales tax law, as long as the materials are delivered outside the city limits of Virginia. Now, if those materials are picked up, then it's subject to the sales tax law. Am I correct? Thank you. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.7, approve the purchase of bulk ferrous chloride solutions from PVS Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $5,629.03. Is this for the wastewater treatment plant? Thank you.
I will move, I will move the purchase of 562903 to PVS Technologies for the wastewater treatment plant.
Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Freely and Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing, yes, Councilor Johnson.
Do we know what this is used for? Like where in the process?
I'm assuming it's the digester, but I don't know exactly for sure. It is
yeah,
a caustic material, so I'm assuming it's in the digester portion of
Okay,
the process.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. Another unfunded mandate. Strike that from the record. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move to item 9, committee reports. Item 9.1, the committee of the whole that was held on June 4th, 2019, and we will turn this portion of the council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. At the June 4th Committee of the Whole meeting, we had a presentation from Ms. Carly Gobatz, who is opening the 218 separate from the shop coffee house. It was good to discuss with her her future plans, and she's looking to schedule the street shows for June 27th, 2019. We did approve her license today for her strong beer and wine.
Excellent.
Yes, it's very exciting. We did discuss our 2020 legislative bonding priorities. It was moved and supported to authorize the submission of a state of Minnesota capital grant for the regional fire-based emergency medical services and public safety facility, and ask that this request be included in the 2020 legislative bonding bill. The resolution is in your packet.
Okay, again, it's the resolution, adopting the resolution submitting this to the state capital grant for our bonding bill as our number one priority being the regionally based emergency medical services and public safety facility as discussed and approved at committee level. Do I have a motion from the council?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilor Freelieb to move forward to approve that being our number one priority for bonding for 2020. Is there support?
I'll support. Or Steve, that's fine, Steve.
Supported by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And we did make this very clear. This is our only priority for next year as we're moving forward. That's how important it is to us in our surrounding community that we don't have a list of 3 or 4 this year. We have one priority, and it's the Public Safety Center.
It is, and I know that there's some angst on the part of the public about, and rightfully so, that our streets and roadways need some significant repair. But every effort's been made to try to procure some bond funding for roads and streets within the city, and no city's getting that. They don't bond for those kind of things. So we have to figure out another way, which we are. Our staff is working hard on capital investment, a street and alley schedule that we're going to roll out hopefully in 2020. And so, and the council's working hard on that. So we're working hard to get the roads and streets fixed, but to try to get money from bonding, it's just not possible to do so. So this is why this is our number one priority. And so, we're trying to fix these roads and streets and trying to find some revenue stream for that doesn't adversely affect or significantly affect the taxpayers of Virginia. So, is there any further discussion on this bonding request, Councilor Bearable?
If I'm correct on this, this has to be submitted in by June 14th
Friday, correct?
Friday, yes.
to all parties at the state level in both the House and the Senate, and to Representative Murphy also, all works? Okay.
Yep,
So we'll
goes
have
right
it
there.
sent off in time.
All ready to go. I just need the resolution after
Okay.
tonight's meeting.
So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it'll go to legislative staff, and they'll distribute to the appropriate bonding chairs. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda was we discussed the quote for asbestos removal at 2 properties that the city owns, one located at 230 2nd Street South and one at 402 3rd Avenue North. At this time, it was moved and supported to table the approval of these quotes for asbestos removal to a future date in 2019.
Also move to table the request on the asbestos.
Moved by Councilor Bearable to table. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The Committee of the Whole discussed the Downtown Redevelopment Program guidelines and application. After some discussion, it was moved and supported to invite CRD Incorporated to attend the next Committee of the Whole on June 18, 2019, to give more information to the Council about the Downtown Redevelopment District Commercial Rehabilitation Program.
I'll move to approve inviting CRD.
Moved by Councilor Paulson, supported by Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? It's good to have it at the council meeting committee of the whole. They've been giving some updates to VITA, but it's good for all of us to understand what's going on there. So thank you. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson?
Are we inviting VITA to come to that so we can all get the same information at the same time? Or could we invite them?
Absolutely,
I think that would be a good gesture on our part to invite them to come also.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know the CRD attends every one of the VITA meetings, but it's good to have an overall perspective. Thank you. We'll include that in moving forward. So is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to authorize submission to the Iron Range to Arrange Resources and Rehabilitation Board a request for funding for the pilot program known as Virginia Downtown Redevelopment District Commercial Rehabilitation Program at their June 7th, 2019 board meeting, and I'd like to report that we were awarded $250,000 for this pilot project.
I will
Counselor
move that we
Johnson. Counselor
continue to
Johnson.
move forward with the grant. That's very long.
Moved by Counselor Johnson for the Virginia Downtown Redevelopment Commercial Rehabilitation Program, which we've been awarded $250,000, which is phenomenal. Thank you very much for all your hard work on that, Britt. Is there support? Support by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Any more information to follow to the public about how this is going to work?
Correct. As we mentioned in the previous motion, CRD Incorporated will be at our June 18th Committee of the Whole meeting.
Very good.
More discussion about
Thank
this
you,
program.
Britt.
Thank you. And that is all the actions items I have from this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to item 9.2 on the agenda, which is the Personnel Committee of the Whole that was held on June 10th, 2019. And once again, I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to our City Administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. Fire Chief Alan Lewis was present to discuss the personnel shortage at the fire department. He currently is operating with 4 vacant dual-role firefighter paramedic positions. It was moved and supported to authorize proceeding with the hiring process to fill 1 vacant dual-role firefighter paramedic position at the fire department.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion to hire one.
Moved by
Dual
Councilor
role.
Barnzelli to approve the hire. Is there support?
I'll support, and that's with
Support by Councilor Freely. Further discussion? Councilor Freely.
that's with the understanding that that was a pre-budgeted position.
Correct.
Yeah, this is a budgeted position. Yes, sir.
But the other 3 that we're contemplating or considering are not.
They are.
They're all budgeted.
They're all budgeted.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Deputy Police Chief Chad Nicola was also present to discuss the lack of officers in the police department. We have been operating with not a full complement for quite a while now. It was moved and supported to authorize staff to proceed with the hiring process for up to 2 patrol officer positions in the police department.
Once again, these are both budgeted positions.
Correct, correct.
Left, vacancies left from retirement, and somebody left from another department.
Correct.
Thank you.
I would move to approve up to 2 hiring of 2 new patrol officers.
Moved by Councilor Paulson to approve the request to hire 2 patrol officers for the police department. Is there support? Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Ed Alto from our Public Works Department was present to discuss the openings in Public Works. At this current time, we actually have 2 openings in our entry-level position. However, our greatest need is actually in a more skilled position. After much discussion with the council, it was moved and supported to authorize proceeding with the hiring process for 2 repair crew positions in Public Works.
Also move.
Support.
Moved by Councilor Baraboo to hire 2 repair crew personnel for Public Works, supported by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Discussion was held regarding the Public Works Director position, and it was the consensus of the committee at the time, on Monday, yesterday, that it was time to start looking at adding a director to our staff. It was moved and supported to allow city staff to update and prepare the Public Works Supervisor or Director job description with a salary range in order to fill the vacant position. This position has not been filled since the year 2000.
I will move directing staff to move forward with a Public Works Supervisor, Director, and the necessary paperwork.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Johnson to approve the hire. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That is all I have from that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Britt. We'll move to item 9.3, the Insurance Committee meeting of the whole that was held today at 4 p.m. in the council chambers, June 11th, 2019. And once again, I'll turn this portion of the council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. The City of Virginia staff had received quotes for agent of record for our health insurance as we've been working on changes to our health insurance policy and plans. It was moved and supported by the City Council to approve appointing the Range Reliable Agency as our agent of record as of July 1st, 2019.
I will make that motion.
Moved by Councilor Johnson to approve.
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Bearable. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to just make sure people understand what happened at that meeting there. We received 3 bids from 3 agencies, one at $15 per contract per month, one at $5 per contract per month, and one at $7.54 per contract per month. And we had some discussion, and we went with the lowest bid, which is also a local business. I also said at that meeting, and I'll say it again, that through this process, there have been some interactions with folks that have made it challenging for me personally at times to be able to think about what's best for the city, and that's what I'm basing my decision on, is the $5 per contract per month, and knowing that the Range Reliable Agency, who we will be accepting as our agent of record, has a very good track record, and that. And I also said during the earlier meeting that I'm kind of disappointed in some of the community members who have had opinions about who we should go with and why we should go with them, and their approach to some of us on the council. And we are here to do the best we can for the city, and I believe that all of us are here for that, and sometimes that means making hard choices. And so this was a difficult decision, but we have to do it for the good of the city and for the taxpayers who are funding the insurance for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Well said. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We had discussion regarding removal of the crossover and pay the provider options for VIVA accounts. We will be staying with Further as our administrator for the VIVA accounts, but it was moved and supported to approve the removal of the features of crossover and pay the provider options on these accounts.
Also move the changeover on the crossover.
A move by Councilor Bearable. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
City staff presented a proposal for short-term disability insurance for the city. And I'm sorry, Sherry, do you have the cost with you? I don't have the cost with me. Was it $27,100 for the year?
Yes, $27,111.
Thank you. We had got a proposal from Madison Life for $27,100 for the annual short-term disability insurance policy for the city of Virginia. It was moved and supported to accept that contract.
Anyone?
I will make the motion that we go with the Madison National Life Insurance, or Corporation National Insurance Services for the $27,100 as quoted by Sherry.
And it's a savings in the long run based on adjustments, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That is all I have from that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item 10, Commission Liaison Department Head Reports. We'll start with the City Council. Does anyone have a report they'd like to give to the council and to the general public this evening? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll remind everybody it's Land of the Loon this weekend. The City Council is invited to walk in the parade at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. We are first or thereabouts. And then both Saturday and Sunday, we will have our tent in the park again if you are interested in stopping up there to
boy.
say hi to some of us. We have some awesome city volunteers who'll be there also. And there may be, if you ask, you may be able to receive we got some new frequently called phone number magnets that are really handy for offices or on your refrigerator for the city. So look forward to seeing everybody at the Land of the Loon this year.
Hey, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. I have a couple announcements I'd like to make, and first of all, I had a really nice thank you card from the fourth graders from Virginia Elementary School. They went to the Laurentian Environmental Center, and we, as a council, gave a private donation, not from council funds, but we gave a private donation to the fourth grade so that some of them could go to this Laurentian environmental thing, which they do every year. So they all signed it for us, and so thank you. It was a very nice letter, very heartwarming. So we like to support the kids, moving forward when we can. So thank you, everybody. And then I did get a thank you letter, a note here from the office of the 8th District Congressman Pete Stauber, thanking the city for their professionalism in the Dante Teeny funeral and the honor of bringing Dante home after being missing in action since Pearl Harbor 1941. He thought it was very professionally done, and it was an honor for him to see the community come together. So he sent us a real nice thank you note for that. So thank you, Congressman Stauber. And then I have a letter here from a gentleman, and I'm going to do this publicly because I think, it's from the Veterans Memorial. We had Memorial Day. And this comes from, and it's signed in high regard, anonymous corporal in the United States Marine Corps. So he wants to thank the city. I could read the whole thing, but I'll have someone make copies and put them in your mailbox. I just received it today. He's a Marine Corps veteran. He was honored to come to the memorial service, which the city helps put together every year. And that says that we do a bang-up job. And he just had one little change he'd like to see for next year. He said he would like us not to use the word soldier. The word soldier refers to an Army veteran, not a sailor, not a Marine Corps, not a Coast Guard. So he said, could you use servicemen next time you give that speech when you do your Veterans Memorial? And so in response to the signed anonymous corporal of the United States Marine Corps, we will do that next year. So thank you. All right, anybody else have anything? How about staff? Nothing from our city administrator, she had enough today. And so nothing from our city attorney, Tom Budarak, he's got all his ducks in a row. Pam, anything? Sherry? Just on behalf of all of us, I think of the council, we want to say that thank you for all your hard work this last few weeks, particularly on the insurance program. I mean, this insurance thing was a huge amount of time taken, and so thanks for your hard work on this, and for the city council for their efforts and all the really good questions you asked, and try to move this new insurance program forward where we're going to save the city a significant amount of money. So we thank those, and thank those bargaining units who made the adjustment to accommodate. So it was a really good thing. It was a good team effort. Okay.
Here, I do have something.
Yes,
I would
Britt.
like to thank the businesses and the homeowners that have taken the extra care this week for Land of the Loon. We've had to call a few of them to remind them that we would really appreciate that they got their lawn and their yard looking in tip-top shape. So I really appreciate those that have responded and have done the work to make this place look really good for this weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to city crew for, stepping up to the plate there on that Fifth Avenue lot, and for the efforts for the private business on the main street that's currently closed as a result of the fire, to clean up the side there to help, clean up the streets a little bit. So yeah, it's been a good thing. Thanks, Britt. Okay, and yes, Councilor Johnson.
Forgot that the fountain is being dedicated on Thursday, starting at 4 p.m. and They'll be singing, and the fountain will be started in about 9:30 or so. They will be lighting the fountain, so you can plan an entire afternoon this Thursday.
Starts at 4.
Starts at 4, goes till after dark, once the fountain's lit. So that should be, it's going to be a full week for the community.
There's a lot going on that day. There's also an art crawl that day on June 13th downtown, so it's a great day to be in Virginia on Thursday.
And as a gentleman told the other day at the coffee shop, he says, Mayor, I just want to tell you that when they have this dedication, and I told him it was the Fountain Committee and the community that put this all together, he just want to let you know that it could be a romantic evening for me. So I told him I was going to announce it at the council meeting. So I said, good for you. Okay, thank you. All right, anything else before it comes to the council? Okay, we will adjourn for our next council meeting, which is when? June 25th. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. Have fun at the Land of the Lone. Buy a lot of things. We stand adjourned.